Oh boy. Hello, everybody. It's Dr. Rafich from Vet Triage. It is July 26th, Friday, 12:42 p.m. Pacific time. Very late stream today, but that's all right. Better late than never. Let's talk about the challenges that folks face when they own the less commonly known animal types: birds, reptiles, rabbits, hamsters, gerbils, ferrets, guinea pigs, fish, tarantulas, snakes, lizards, all these things. And so let's talk about it. And the focus is going to be on basically, well, why one reason why vet triage exists in regards to access and spectrum of care. So if you own the challenges, for those who don't know, who might be watching this on the playback, the challenge with folks who own those animal types is actually finding veterinary care. And I'm talking about on an emergency basis as well as a preventative medicine basis. They can't find doctors who are knowledgeable in these animal types. And so, because of that, these veterinary deserts that are already bad enough for the more commonly owned animals are expanded because of these less commonly owned animals not having access to care. On top of that, when you look at, let's say, the cost of a gerbil or a hamster in comparison to our medical care costs, well, it doesn't make any sense. Obviously, there's an emotional value to that animal, of course, but if it comes down to it, and the $5 guinea pig needs $500 worth of testing and treatment, people might do the math and say, I need to change gears here, and that's a sad thing. And so, spectrum of care, for those who don't know, is the idea that there is a breadth of options available for you as a pet owner. There's, of course, the gold standard, top of the top, no holds bar, money's not a problem, whatever, all the way down to like, well, let's just wait and see what happens then, and everything in between, depending on what you can afford as a pet owner, and also depending on where your emotions lie, your ethics lie, your culture lies, all these factors that play a role in your decision making as a pet owner. It all influences where on that spectrum of options you choose for your pet's next steps. So, spectrum of care describes the host of options, the spectrum of options that are available to that pet owner for that pet, as directed by the veterinarian, allowing the pet owner to decide along that spectrum what they want to do and what they don't want to do with that pet. And the other aspect of spectrum of care is, of course, the follow-up to that, right? So, maybe this week you can only afford doing blood work, but the next week you can afford getting the x-rays. There should be room for that type of negotiation with the pet owner and the veterinarian. Unfortunately, the reason why this spectrum of care concept has gained so much popularity, and we've been talking about spectrum of care since the beginning of vet triage, but the reason why it's gained so much popularity is because a lot of the newer graduates, to no fault of their own, feel as though there's only one way to work up a pet and to treat a pet. And if the pet owner can't do the one way, which is everything, every test, every treatment, every whatever, well, then I can't help you. There's no other option. I can't help you. And there are some cases like that. If your pet, if your dog swallowed a peach pit and now has an intestinal blockage that requires surgery, there really is only two options: surgery and euthanasia, right? But so that's pretty clear cut. But the vast majority of the more common diseases and traumas, there's usually like options, and the vet students and new graduates need to understand that spectrum of care is vital, especially this day and age with the economy and all that stuff. But it really is important to give owners an options, and then they can choose. They recognize what's the best, and they can choose where on that spectrum best coalesces with their beliefs and their financial status. Hey there, audience member. Thanks for joining. Feel free to ask any questions you have. Then there's the other phrase of access to care, which is the simple, it's what it describes. What ability do you have to access veterinary care? And the lack of access to veterinary care is what creates these veterinary deserts. Veterinary deserts are geographic locations where for X number of miles or whatever it may be, there's no veterinary facility that you can access, whether it be on an emergency basis, which is most commonly what it refers to, or even a preventative medicine basis. You need to have veterinary access, and if you live in a veterinary desert, you don't have that access, and so that's access to care. You can't even have really spectrum of care without having access to care. However, spectrum of care, though, can be done without a brick and mortar, like with vet triage, for example. We give pet owners the option of talking to a veterinarian and getting the advice they need. Hello, ball python love. I have a ball python. I think they should make giving snake medicine easier. Boy, you are not wrong. That's true. One of the key points that ball python love is making here with this comment is that we need to have all different forms of medication administration. And what makes reptiles even more difficult is that the only real options for them is going to be things like injectable, which is not always realistic considering their tough skin and the skill level that you need to give injections, or oral, which, to ball python love's point, oral is not always easy to give, especially when you're talking about a snake. And in dogs and cats, for example, we have also transdermal, where you can put it on the skin, usually on the tip of the ear, where there's not a lot of hair and the skin is very thin. Well, for reptiles, they have thick skin, right? And so I have a feeling, although no direct experience myself, that transdermal application medications in these species is not going to work. It just won't work. And so the other mode of giving medication, of course, could be as a suppository, so rectally, which again may not work for a reptile, and also by inhalation, by aerosolizing the medication, which again may not work well with a reptile. So yeah, ball python love, you're absolutely right. It's very, very challenging to administer medications, especially for animals in general, but especially for different species. And then ball python love also says, I used to have a snake with scale rot, and I give medicine would be just so difficult for the snake and me. Yeah, it causes a stressful interaction between the pet owner and the pet. It makes the pet, scared of the pet owner, obviously, because every time they interact with you, they're worried about having medication shoved down their throat. And of course, you as a pet owner are like, I got to get you the medication. You need it. So, yeah, you're absolutely right. And I don't have an answer for you. I will say that there are more and more compounding pharmacies that are able to formulate medication into a liquid and even flavor it. So if you are having difficulty with administering medications for your snake, what I would ask you to do is inquire with your veterinarian about a compounding pharmacy, or just simply Google compounding pharmacies, and a lot of them will ship drugs to you. They kind of have to. It may take a week or two to make the drug for you, but they can make it liquid and a different flavor, and perhaps that might be easier. Ball python love also says, I think they should also make more types of like casts for different animals. Do you mean like bandages? Is that what you're asking? What you're saying with casts, like different types of bandages? So yeah, so the difficult aspect with these animal types, access and spectrum of care. Luckily on vet triage, you have veterinarians on 24/7 who can help you with your chickens, your cockatiels, your ball pythons, your gerbils, your hamsters, and access them 24/7, $50, and then for equine, $75. Ball python love says yes, as well as prosthetics and stuff for birds. Yep. In fact, actually, if you haven't looked at it yet, there's some really cool YouTube videos on people who made their own like wheelchairs for paralyzed rabbits and paralyzed gerbils and hamsters. And I'm sure there's a ton of other stuff on there regarding prosthetics and casts for animals like birds. So yeah, check out YouTube and see. There's so many different um, creative people out there that engineer this stuff. So, and they also add and snakes because they can have broken tail tips from pet stores. Yep, yep, absolutely, absolutely, yeah, 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 yeah. All that stuff is innovative and cool, and we need more of it. And you know, despite what you might think now, we are way better at treating these animal types than we were even like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, and beyond. Because more and more people own these pets and they're willing to spend money on them. And then with things like social media, you can figure out a unique solution and then share it with the world so that other people in that situation can take care of the pet. So, well, Python Love, thank you so much for being so interactive and for joining here the live stream. Thanks everybody for watching the playback. Please subscribe, donate, support the channel, hit like, do all the things. I hope to be on again tomorrow, Saturday, July 27th, with another live stream. We'll see you all then. Again, Ball Python Love, thank you so much. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take care.